All right, we're here. I guess this is I guess we could say this is marks of the announce table, even though it's just me and my son over here, Zach. So, our topic of the day is something that I actually did on the channel. It's one of my early videos, aside from like the Uncle John stuff and like that, is backyard wrestling. We did a quick clip on 2 backyard wrestling companies. I'm not gonna call them companies, all right? I do not want to call them companies because it's like calling eFed Wrestling a company and a real thing. Can you profit off of backyard wrestling? Heck yeah. But are you a legitimate business? Most likely not. So let's get into 2 different, or maybe 3 different types of backyard wrestling, which I'll look at. There's little Todd and his brother on trampoline backyard wrestling company. There's the makeshift wrestling ring that you built,
trampoline,
that you built, and
or couches.
Yeah, or the ground, which is like ESW. And then there's like the backyard companies that are legitly in your backyard, and they're like a wrestling ring, and you have it set up, and you tell the entire trailer park, the entire subdivision, wherever you're living at, people, hey, we got a wrestling match coming up. You know, Uncle John's gonna go against little Todd, and they're gonna have a straight up wrestling match, no barbed wire, just wrestling. And that's more of like what I would view as like a place, you know, as a legit wrestling company. That last one. Let's talk about the first one though. Me, personally, I didn't really have too many friends that I like wrestled with as a kid, because I lived in the good state of West Virginia, and we had a hill, and the side of a mountain, and I don't know if you know this, but you can fall down the hill or the mountain, and you're in the forest.
King of the mountain match.
King of the mountain match. You're like in the middle of the forest. There's a bear there. You're probably dead. So going outside was not my thing at the time, where compared to now. So what about you in wrestling? I know that you told me the story of you actually got banned from watching wrestling because you were such a little TJ Perkins, you high flying kid who hopefully will win the Cruiserweight series. Bring it home.
But I mean, where I used to live, just a little down the street, I had my grandmother's. She had a big yard, so me and my friend LT, we just walk over there. I have a bunch of these little toy titles, and he has a actual world tag title belt.
Oh, so you know, one of those ones that you pay like a ridiculous $300-400 for.
Yep.
That's That's overkill for a tag team belt, by the way. I just want you to know that. That's overkill.
Me and him used to always like wrestle in that yard.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell this story first.
All right.
It was for the World Heavyweight Championship that I had, and we hung it from a giant tree. And this is back when I was like 9-10 years old, so I was pretty short, and the branch was really high, so I had like a little step stool to hang up the title.
You ever see that Indian wrestling on Facebook?
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminds me of right now. Like.
So going back to that hardcore discussion, this is what I now describe as my most intense match that I was the referee of.
You were the referee of your own match.
I was the referee.
Oh, good God.
So it was my friends. We had LC and Shane, and it was a pine tree.
Triple threat dance.
So.
Pine cone or?
No, pine, like fucking.
You know, with like the pine needles and everything, right?
Yeah, pine needles.
Yeah.
The pine needles all scattered around like giant piles.
Yeah.
So nearing the end of the match, my friend LT versus another one, my friend Shane, he is going to spear him, but instead LT lifts him up and basically drops him on the pine needles, going head first into the pine needles. Just pointing this out, none of them had shirts on, so like get up and there's just pine needles all over their back. at the point it hurt LT to the point where when he bounced up and got high enough to grab the title and ripped it from the tree and fell back in the pine needles.
So basically, you were trying to emulate the thumbtacks.
Yes, that's basically what happened.
Back to our hardcore discussion.
But I mean, we were just doing it for shits and giggles back then.
Oh, backyard wrestling.
We didn't have any ring or trampoline. We had a field.
We had a field and a tree.
And a tree. And
Yeah.
a deck.
And a deck.
To the point where I was doing swanton bombs off a deck.
Good God Almighty. I don't even know what to say about that. Okay, like in like 7 years time, you'll be going from taking swanton bombs off of a deck, and your friend taking these pine needle spots to actually booking. Fantasy booking and all that. Yeah. Booking how it should have been booked by, people who have had no experience in professional wrestling except for e-fetting and talking to like Joey and some other people who've been a part of the wrestling circuit.
Just pointing this out. That one match has made me qualified enough to book an EWC company. Just say.
I kind of just woke up one day and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do this whole e-fetting thing for a while and then quit, and cause it took too much time.
A good friend has gotten a Instagram now, by the way. Just saying.
What?
Good friend of ours has gotten an Instagram now.
What's his name?
His name is Cole _ You can get the rest.
Stoner. Go follow him right now.
I'm not gonna say that's his last name.
We'll review it. Well, I say it all the time he's in the reviews. Like,
shut up.
It's okay, Alexander Hamilton. Anyways,
yeah. You know what?
Anyways, we'll have a discussion about e-fed wrestling one day. All of us, maybe get a whole bunch of people on for that one. That's like a big discussion to explain it to people. But let's talk about the second type of backyard wrestling company. Of course, we talked about your story, and of course, if you haven't seen my my backyard wrestling company video about Todd on the channel and his backyard trampoline match with his brother at the time, trying to do a flip. What was it? A flip pile driver, Canadian Destroyer, and he just I slowed it down, and he kind of just landed. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I don't think I've seen that. I need to find that now.
Yeah, it was a great video. You should watch it, or watch the actual raw footage of his video. He actually has videos of it. It's called BCWE.
That is not okay at all.
I think it's BCW or BCW. I think it's BCW. BCW.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's BCWE.
So you can check that out if you want to see some white boy backyard trampoline wrestling. Let's talk about the makeshift wrestling ring that you make with your family. You get all this stuff at Home Depot. You make a wrestling ring, and we did a video on these guys, and I thought for the most part, like, my friend Cody would be chill about it. Spoiler alert, he wasn't, and I even said in a later video that I'm sorry about it, but it's just I thought it was fun. I thought it was, they had fun, and I'd have fun, talking about it and how, like, backyard wrestling, you have a lot of fun with. You can get that experience to emulate pro wrestling. I'm trying to put this really nicely, by the way, because I know if I slip up once, I'm getting a lot of shit that I don't deserve when it comes to saying that. So I want to make sure I have a clear opinion on this, and I'm not gonna say it's trash or anything like that, because it's not. It's a way for you to start getting into the wrestling industry, but you don't have that actual person usually who's actually been in the wrestling industry, been in the indies. You just have that experience of testing out moves and seeing what works and what doesn't, and the flow of a match. All right. and how the audience will react to it. Mullins, welcome to our discussion on backyard wrestling.
Yay.
Oh, I love that kind of stuff.
So you can hear the enthusiasm in his voice. So
I love it.
let's roll back a little bit now that you're here. We're talking about 3 different types of backyard wrestling. We have the one where you're on the trampoline wrestling with little Jimmy and stuff like that. You got the one where you get the whole neighborhood together and you're wrestling at a makeshift ring, which I was just talking about. And then you have the one where you actually bought a ring, set it up, advertised, and you just had it in the backyard, which is more like a real company. So what's your thoughts on the first one, which is you and little Jimmy wrestling, putting it on YouTube? You hear the whistle blowing of the wind as you're recording it, but...
Trampoline wrestling, while it looks fun when you're a kid and whatnot, I would not advise doing it. That sounds like the most dangerous thing of all time. I've been hurt on a trampoline before. So I can only imagine like the kind of things that would actually come from wrestling on a trampoline.
And to take it back,
good.
When I said that I did not have much memories of trampoline wrestling, I take that back, because when I first moved to North Carolina, my neighbors and we would have these like 2-on-2 matches.
This was only like 2 years ago. It doesn't count.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, and we would have these 2-on-2 matches where it would be like me and like one of the younger neighbors versus one of the older neighbors and one of the younger neighbors. And I remember one time we did the 3D, all right, and that was like one of the coolest things, because I lifted up one of my neighbors and like my other neighbors came up and did a cutter, and I was like, you know, of course your parents don't like that. I'm gonna straight up be honest.
Trust me, we used to when I was a kid,
about it.
For my birthday and whatnot, we used to set up rings in our big like upstairs living room.
Yeah, dude, that's why like I'm the type of person that would get my kid like a wrestling ring bed, you know. That nerdy.
I will makeshift one.
Have fun on this thing. Canadian Destroyer in the bed.
Yeah. Freaking top rope elbow
Run
dropping
the ropes before you go to bed.
Run the ropes for you.
Oh my god.
Oh goodness.
We need to make an adult-sized version of that bed. Just saying.
That's nice.
I think I would buy it. I know you would buy it.
I would buy
it. Yeah, it's like, don't even say you wouldn't.
I would buy
100% buy it.
Yeah.
100%. Not even a second thought.
Mullins, your thoughts on going to my video, I guess you could say, the edgiest backyard wrestling company ever, which is the style of you make a ring, you get a bunch of buddies together, you have a little event, you got a little audience, you're not charging people,
get the tarp over the ring.
Exactly. It's very backyard wrestling with a ring, though, not trampoline, not the ground. I know previously I said the ground, but that's kind of different, because ESW I think was a little bit different compared to, you know, this and Todd's company on YouTube or whatever.
The thing about this middle company is the fact that they're not as good as the top one, but they're only slightly better than the bottom one. So it's like they're going out of their way and doing a ton, because that's a ton of extra work compared to just jumping on a trampoline and whatnot. Ton of extra work, and it's really like it's not gonna make a difference in the long run. That I think those truthfully, I hate saying it, those companies don't need to exist.
Ooh, shots fired. If he gets more followers than me, I'm gonna be mad by that. I'm gonna say that.
He only has 6 followers.
Okay.
He's following 16 people.
I thought he got 15 followers.
He was wrong.
Okay, well, we're gonna get him up to 15 after this video. Don't worry, guys. And you gotta get me to 100. I need to do more of that, like actual Instagram advertising. I don't advertise too much there. Back to the main point of the video.
Post really sad.
Just like Snapchat.
And then you got that main company.
Well, let's talk about the middle company a bit. All right. In our last discussion, which you completely missed, I'm sorry about that. Was about hardcore wrestling and is it justified? So let's talk about that middle company that tends to do more hardcore stuff, such as the bleach spot. All right, they're not bleach. The rubbing alcohol spot.
Yeah, the rubbing alcohol spot.
Where
on the face.
You have a guy who's been cut open, and then you put rubbing alcohol.
You squirt rubbing alcohol or dump it all over his face.
Yeah. And then you have the jumping off of roofs, the flaming guitar that burns half of the tarp. I don't know if you just heard that, Zach. Did you hear it?
No, my internet gave out.
That flaming guitar spot.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, and then the jumping off of the roof, stuff of that aspect. I think jumping off of the roof part is a little cool because, I mean, you go back to old Omega stuff with the Hardys. That was pretty chill.
Like where everyone's a dark gimmick. That's just a stupid concept when everyone's a dark gimmick.
Yeah, I think if you want to emulate the real wrestling company, you have to have multi-gimmicks that range from dark to really light to that serious to comedy. Like you want to, if you're trying to emulate something, you want to emulate it to your best ability. And when I say emulate, I
not
say
everyone can be a dark gimmick. I know it sucks because dark gimmicks are fun.
When I say emulate, I don't mean straight up rip off something. I mean give it your own unique taste to it, which I think you can always see that one or two people in a company of this aspect of the backyard companies, quote unquote, that stand out. All right, like you can see, like that's going to be a guy who, if he was in real wrestling, he might not be Adam Cole big, but he would at least be, you know, he would be there. He would be there at least wrestling. You know, he'd be like the local jobber of like a big company. Even though he's kind of a big deal in these like indie companies. So there's that. So, you know, it goes from wrestling with your little brother, saying it's a company, just having fun, to taking it a little bit more serious, getting all your friends together, risking your life a little bit.
We call that the trailer park town hall meeting.
Bones is taking all the shots right now. I'm playing nice.
I'll be honest with you.
I'm playing nice, especially because I kind of got
I'll be honest
because that video. Remember, I thought it was all in fair game, all right? Like I even said I was sorry after that. I was like, hey, like I thought we were cool. I thought you wouldn't take the video too much heart, but I guess I was wrong. So, all right, it happens. Life happens. Whatever.
Butt hurt.
Whatever. And then the final aspect is, and I would say ESW is kind of like this because ESW went from doing that really hardcore stuff to now
becoming an actual backyard company. They're just a backyard wrestling.
Like having, events, charging people, production value has gone up.
That's the big thing. What I have an issue with that middle company is it's not even wrestling. It's not. I don't consider it wrestling. It's just brawling.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't call yourself a wrestling company if you're not gonna have any wrestling aspect. Like when we were watching it, there was not one like suplex hit.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hit. They hit maybe a DDT and then maybe like a side slam.
Mm-hmm. And there wasn't much mat wrestling, chain wrestling. The psychology and consistency of the match wasn't there. It was simply all around, like, there was no good flow. It was kind of like you were surprised because you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. There was
it was kind of like a regular fight. It was just like they were like, yeah, we're gonna fight.
There was no like level area where it got really high and then you could see where it was going down for its conclusion. It was simply like up, down, end. So
you could tell that it was on the fly, not scripted, which is not what you need when you're not a professional.
Yeah. So this last company, that's more of one that you can actually profit off of. You're not making bank, you're not making CZW, PWG level, but you're still making some.
But you're making enough to be
stuff.
a company.
Yeah. What's your shot on that I'm pretty
I
chill
really
with
like
it.
it.
I think that's pretty cool because then you can put it on, you can put it on
Well, because
YouTube.
you gotta
stuff
you
of
gotta
that
look back
aspect.
to even maybe the origins of a company like CZW. They probably started off very similar.
CZW is different because they took that hardcore aspect from the middle ground area and they kept it, but it's because I think they had that shock value, which ECW had for a while, and then if anybody remembers, ECW got that Ring of Honor mix-ish blend of. They got pillaged by people, of course.
Toward the end, yeah.
They got pillaged by like the bigger companies, but they had a lot of great workers, and they had the ability to create great workers. So
it was a great starting point for a lot of people.
Yeah. Any final concluding thoughts on
Concluding
backyard
thoughts
wrestling companies as a whole?
I feel like if you're gonna do it, you don't just say, hey, we're gonna do this and then go out and do it. You plan toward it, like the bigger companies. You can tell that they obviously put thought and they put lots of time into planning all this before just saying, hey, let's get in the ring and wrestle.
Anything for you,
Hey,
Zach?
we got a story. You're gonna pretend that you are going after my family.
I mean, being a backyard referee
slash wrestler
and a wrestler.
Yeah, we got a veteran here.
I know the toll the ground takes on your body.
All right.
It's a hard job. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. How much you get paid?
I don't do it for the money. I do it for the fans.
Oh,
okay.
I think that's avoiding the question. That's avoiding the question.
I do it for the fans. All right. Who's paying?
I do.
What
He
fans?
does it for the 3 fans that show up in attendance. The
All right.
3 ones.
Your mom.
Actually,
your
Mullins,
mom.
you're over. No,
The
my
toe.
Mom didn't even show up.
The toe.
Mom didn't even approve of this.
Yeah. She banned it. She
Mullins,
banned
you're
it.
upset.
Mom's Against Backyard Wrestling. Start it right now. Get that Twitter page up there.
Mullins, you're overstepping it. 3 is too much. Go down by 3.
Yeah, they would sometimes have one guy walk by that was walking his dog and just be like, "What the hell?
What are these kids doing?"
It would be like, I imagine it's like on when South Park did the wrestling and then the random hillbillies are just sitting out by the fence watching.
I want to point this out because this is now something I just got reminded of from that.
Yeah.
There was some guy walking a golden retriever one day, and me and Shane were wrestling, and he looks over and he just like starts staring, and we just scream. The dog jumps, claws the guy in the thigh.
Oh.
He goes down. We run inside. That's it.
That's a good. That's a screwy finish right there.
That's a dusty finish.
Look at that. We got a screwy finish going on. We got almost a DDT on concrete
That's a
level.
storyline.
Yeah, we got a storyline. When's he returning? When's
you know what? At least when I did my ground wrestling.
Dude, you have to run some beignets for him now to come back.
At least when I had my ground wrestling, we decided our finishes and who won and who lost.
Like, I'm going over.
We had solid storylines.
Yeah, I'm going over.
Did you have spots in matches? Did you have spots?
Yes, we had spots. In fact, I mentioned.
Well, then I can give that credit. Then I can give that credit if you guys are actually doing that.
I did swantons off decks. I did one, and I failed ultimately, and I got hit with an RKO, and my leg hit like
in midair.
Yes, my leg hit a rock.
That's really cool, actually.
My leg hit a rock, and it was very painful. And then, as time randomly progressed 3 years.
I like how it just progressed 3 years all of a sudden.
It just randomly happens 3 years,
like
and
preteen Zach right now.
And then my friend is still the world champion 3 years later.
I got a Will Wagner reign right now. He can be like the IC title. All right.
It's a hard sport.
It's a hard sport. I think that's how we'll end it. All right, we're gonna end it like that. Backyard wrestling is a hard sport.